Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here, looking at more young adult, probably not even young adult, more like just elementary school age graphic novels from Scholastic for my nephew and niece. This is I always pause and I think about like G.K. Chesterton and C.S. Lewis on writing. So I'm kind of looking at these from the perspective of do these books have morals that I think are good for my nephew and niece? It's challenging because then not only do I have to think about, like the little moral problem presented in the books, I have to think about, is it contextualizing it well for the reading level? So for example, like Babysitter's Little Sisters aimed at probably like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old reading level. Babysitter's Club books are maybe aimed at, I guess, middle school, like 11, 12-year-old reading level. And they also have to deal with the problems at that age level too. And then there are the boys' books that are like about planes blowing up in World War II and Dogman and the gang, grabbing underpants or whatever. So we're going to concentrate on the Babysitter Club books for now. So these are based on like the 90s, kids reader novels. I didn't read these, but my sisters ate these up, and so I probably read some of them to them or heard my parents read some of these books out loud to my sisters. So I picked up a little bit about the Babysitters Club by osmosis, even though it wasn't my thing. And I'm really impressed by the level of thought put into the world. So for example, every Babysitters Club book follows a different member of the Babysitters Club, which means you'll see one as a protagonist in one book and there'll be a supporting character in another book. And this is even consistent with the Babysitter's Little Sister spinoff series. So Karen is just kind of like a cute but annoying kid sister in this book. And Christy, the older sister, is the protagonist of this book, and she's sort of presented as a wise older sister figure you can talk to in Karen's story. There's even a fun thing where this one is about Karen competing in a spelling bee and being a sore winner. And then in this book, Karen is also fussy about spelling. So there's consistency across the books. I'll talk about I think I've talked enough about the three of them generally. There's always a problem that the Babysitters Club or one of the kids in the Babysitters Club has to solve. The Babysitters Club books, the problems are a little bit more complicated and involve other people. The Little Sister books, because she's 5, it's a little bit more of how to put it. Karen is more inwardly focused because she's 5. So it's like, hooray, I won the spelling bee. Oh no, my friends don't like me because I'm talking too much about spelling. I have to not be a sore winner. So it's a more simplistic world when we're in the world of a 6-year-old. In the older books, then we have it's more of an interpersonal problem. So Christy runs a Babysitters Club. For her, Babysitters Club is a job. It's a coming of age experience. It's a way of her making friends with girls in her age group, and it's a way of her passing something down to a younger age group. So let's talk about Christy's story real quick. So Christy is kind of the all-American tomboy type, likes baseball. The Babysitters Club is her project. And Christy in the Walking Disaster, she finds out there's like a bunch of kids in her neighborhood who would like to play baseball, but they aren't old enough for Little League. So she gets the idea to coach a Little League, not a Little League, sort of like a teeny bopper pre-Little League team. And there are kids as young as 2.5 on the team. So it's not competitive. It's really just elementary school kindergartners first practice baseball games. In the same town, there's another pre-Little League team that's a lot more serious. They actually want to play good baseball, and kind of maybe in a moment of getting ahead of her skis, Christy politely challenges the other team to a match. And to complicate things, she starts to have a crush on the boy, the 8th grade boy who runs the other pre-Little League team. So it's American girlhood experience. First crush. Oh no, is he a good boy? Is he a bad boy? And he a bad guy? So one of the themes obviously is that the serious team are more competitive. They trash talk. That hurts the feelings of Christy's team, so she has to kind of guide them to not be afraid of the ball and not repay their bullying with our own bullying, that kind of stuff. And then the sweet resolution is that I forget his name, but Dreamy Boy actually was a good coach, and he taught his kids how to be sore, how to not be sore winners. So when inevitably when Christie's Crushers play very well but lose the game, all is well, and everybody shakes hands, and she gets to walk home with him and hold his hand. So other kind of sweet subtextual thing going on is Christie is. Her parents are divorced. I don't know what the deal is with Christie's biological dad. I haven't seen him in any of these books. I don't know if it was a thing where he was supposed to be abusive or dead or something, or if it was an animal. I just don't know. But a subplot in this book is Christie needs an adult's advice, so she goes to her stepdad, Watson, and kind of talks out her problems with him. And he's clearly flattered that she trusts him enough to do that. So there goes the mowers. But anyway, they're just like nice little. It's a realistic presentation of divorce, where divorce has impacted Christie's life, but because she has a responsible adult in her life, she still has someone who can kind of fill that dad role for her. So. It's following the same basic pattern. Christie wants to be responsible. She's a kid who's probably like about 12 years old and growing up herself, but she has a chance to pass on her experience to kids who are like 5 or 8 years old. So really solid book. Marjorie and the Tumbleweed Twins, same format. Mallory's 11. She wants to get her ears pierced. She wants to be a little bit more individualistic. She has to babysit 2 particularly troublesome twins who like to mix up one another as a game to tease their babysitters. And this gets to be so bad, these 2 twins do it for everyone who babysits them, and almost nobody wants to babysit them anymore. Mallory figures out that the twins are kind of resent being treated this way, and they want to be a bit more individualistic. So Mallory is kind of put in the position where she's the one who has to help them communicate this to their parents who don't just get it. So one of the nice subtextual things is, from Mallory's perspective at first, is just kind of like a silly problem. Oh no, I don't know who the 2 twins are. Subtextually, it's the parents enabling this behavior because they think it's cute to dress the twins identically, but then that's creating the entire problem for Mallory, where all these mix-ups are happening and she's screwing up because she doesn't know which is which. So these I kind of like just loved them. I thought, okay, absolutely no problem giving these to my niece. This one actually, I kind of, even though it's the most elementary of them, this is the one that kind of I had to kind of like stop and think about whether I thought the moral was good. So Karen participates in a spelling bee. She wins the first spelling bee, and there's a chance that if you win the spelling bee, you can go to compete at state, and you can be the best. You can be the queen spelling bee of the state of Connecticut. So immediately she decides she's going to win it. She gets hyper competitive about it. So it's all about going past your skis, getting too excited about winning, getting too full of yourself as you start to win. So, all right, very basic thing. Then as we get kind of like to the midpoint of the book, this develops a little further in a way that actually kind of intrigued me, because she starts getting emotionally isolated by her little friends. So Anne is very aware that children can be cruel. So, Karen's life isn't all happy sunshine smiles. As she starts kind of being annoying and spelling too much, 2 of her little friends basically just isolate her. And even when Karen recognizes this is a problem and tries not to talk about spelling in front of them, they're still kind of on her case. And yeah, the comment she makes is, well, why don't we have a hopscotch competition? And then they get mad and say, not everything has to be a hopscotch competition. Never mind, you are an ex-member of the Three Musketeers. So I thought, oh, okay. So now we're getting a little bit more complicated. So Karen is partially at fault for being arrogant, kind of being nasty to people, not deliberately. There's a very good balance where, yes, she's saying and doing mean things, but she's not really self-aware of that quite yet. And it's more the sin of how how to put this. I don't really blame a 5-year-old for being a bit selfish because she's 5, right? So she's not being willfully selfish, but she is definitely being selfish. So that's the starting problem. Then the second problem is, okay, well, but now her friends are being mean back to her. So how are we going to resolve this interpersonal conflict? Now, of course, what happens is she keeps going. When she gets to state, she finally flubs the word, and the other girl who was competing with her graciously shakes her hand and congratulates her for coming so far. So the other girl kind of shows her what it looks like to be a good winner. But then they don't resolve the Three Musketeer plot. So what's kind of odd about that is obviously our protagonist is Karen, so we care more about her moral arc and her recognizing, oh, I shouldn't be a jerk to everybody and yell at people just because I win a spelling competition. But we never address her friends basically just immediately isolating her and not giving her any chance to come back. So it ends with her just kind of like hoping that they're gonna forgive her and be back together again. So the reason that I kind of struggled with that is we're showing Karen's problem, but we're not showing the second part of the problem, which is her friends reacting inappropriately to her inappropriate behavior. So I think, so here's my thought on this. So what I think of these books is I think these are good books for parents to read with their children to discuss, but probably not books to just hand them and assume your kid will be able to figure it out. Because some of these are pretty complicated ideas. So for one like this, for example, you might not want to give this to a kid who's overly impressionable because it's about these two misbehaving. So if a kid's overly impressionable, they'll see these two misbehaving, and that'll give them ideas on how they can misbehave. Any kid who's old enough to understand that kids misbehaving in a book doesn't mean I should do it. This is a really solidly presented moral. Mallory identifies the problem, helps them solve their problem, and helping them solve their problem helps Mallory become more responsible and more independent. This one is kind of like it doesn't exactly textually deal with that. The closest to that is Christy, the protagonist from the other books, or sits down and talks Karen through what it means to be a good winner. So Karen does learn her lesson. It just kind of surprised me that we didn't solve this gigantic hanging plot thread by the end of the book. But that's more of a writing quibble, I guess. So yeah, I would say I recommend these. These are books to read with and discuss with children. Because of some of the complexity of some of the ideas they're dealing with. All right, those are the thoughts. Love you guys. Catch you later.